Hey, what's going on to YouTube? This is SEL0320. I am back for a brand new movie review. This movie review is actually on an animated Disney Pixar film. And I really, I was at first really reluctant to check this one out. But then when I saw, I think a couple trailers, and they made me realize that this is not just the thought process that go between a child's mind, but how the dynamics of the human brain works as far as the function of sadness, anger, malice, or not malice, but fear, and even happiness, how those can allow certain causes and effects to happen that shape the course of our entire life, And I think that this is one of the simplest and childlike movies that Disney's kind of ever done as far as on the Pixar level, but then it might be one of the smartest, because if you really did a study on this, there are so many different facets of how the human mind works, operates, and how intricate. There are different ways where sadness and happiness can be a push and pull of who we are as people. So going into just the beginning of the scope of this and the visuals for this, I thought the visuals for it was really classic Pixar. It had I think an Incredibles kind of feel to the character animations, but it was really visually immersive. There was a lot of scenes that were really hewed out, dream sequency kind of, but at the same time really smart and really well engineered, that I could tell the difference from the real world to the world that was the scope of how the mind works as far as the neurons and stuff are firing. So I thought it was really well done as far as the visuals are concerned. I felt like it was catered to a lot more of a childlike demographic, especially when it came to the main looks of happiness, fear, sadness, anger, and I forget the other one. But no, they all look the same, even for the adults. And I was they just kind of had small little nudges and features here and there. I thought that they could have done it a little bit differently. But maybe it was just for anger. Maybe anger was the one that just looked exactly the same. But I thought that they could have made it a little bit more smart like that. But I thought that was, for kids, I think I see why they did it like that. But either way, no. I thought the visuals looked pretty decent. It was really well done. They knew smart cues for having the score to play a downbeat at the same time when there was stuff going on. It was really immersive. I could see where a lot of kids could bring themselves and man, this is really awesome. And then it gets to a serious blocked moment and you're man, it kind of hits really well. So I thought that they did a great job with the visuals and the score in correspondence to that. So I give that probably a 9 out of 10. It was done. I didn't see any real fault with it, But I guess the only reason why I won't give it a 10 is because I want to see this one Pixar movie that it blows my mind as far as the visual scope. I thought that Brave was going to be that. I debated what this was kind of going to look like outside of how the mind works, but it was pretty good. As far as the acting is concerned, I thought that there's a lot of different actors that play in this one that did a great job. Amy, what is her name? Poehler played Joy. Bill Hader played Fear. Oh my god. Lewis Black played Anger, and then Minnie Klang played Disgust, and they were the main ones. And then you also got, I think, what was it? Yeah. So Phyllis Smith played Sadness. So let's see. Riley was played by Candice Dias, and I think the mom was played by Diane Lane, and then Kyle MacLachlan played the dad. I think that the dad and the mom, I thought that those are great actors, of course. First of all, Diane Lane especially, but I felt like they could have done so much more with the roles of the dad and the mom, but they centralized it. They took it from the perspective for Riley. Riley was the young girl that's the main character, that her life was revolved in a certain place where she was living, and then she gets moved all the way to a new area with her family. Kind of small spoiler alert. And the move of this and how she has to cope and deal with that is how all this is kind of brought out, because from her mind's perspective, she's interacting with all these different things around her. But looking at it, I was like, man, like, show what the parents are really going through. Show, like, okay, the dad might be dealing with these certain kind of things, that's why he's tempted with this. Or show the mom, like, they do show that. They do show those real family moments. They capture that really well, especially from an acting standpoint. And I thought it was weird and interesting that you have the characters like Happy and Sadness. I thought that their relationships is, as acting wise and as character wise, I could see them kind of like polar opposites, like clashing, you know. But they brought it home. They brought it to a place where everybody can connect. And they did a good job. As far as the voice acting is concerned, it was really on key, and I thought that had to do a lot with the animators and at the same time with the voice actors. But I could tell the performances coming out and certain nudges, you know, especially with Sadness. I was like, really? But the characters can come off, segueing in, I guess I get the acting 9 out of 10. I didn't have any real problem with the acting of it. I thought that just some of the characters could have been like used different ways. I think also Bing Bong, played by Richard Kind, he was like a small super hit for me because he touched me at a certain point towards the end of the movie. But anyway, as far as the story is concerned, the story is what I really want to talk about, and that's what I want to spend the most time talking about. Probably maybe like another 2 minutes. The fact that you have a girl that grows up like a hockey player, a goofy, giggly girl, and a tomboy, and you bring her out, you strip her basically from all the things that keep her who she is and secure her. And then you got like all the different parts of her mind. Like the first memory and the first emotion she ever had is happiness, you know? And then from that point, you are faced with the reality that, and all of us realize this at some point, but I was looking at the movie and I was realizing, I was like, man, why would she not want to feel, why would she want to feel sadness when like she can feel happiness, you know? Or why would she feel anger when she really needs to feel this? This is what our mind does so that it can process and go to the next part. Because if you only feel happiness throughout everything, you're kind of missing out on the parts of life that allow you to be able to grow, that allow you to be able to feel an emotion and then move from it. And that's where this movie, in my opinion, actually excels in, because on a scientific level and just a thought process level, thinking about how when you, like say if somebody hurts you, or say if somebody like betrays you, how does that memory affect you? Imagine if that memory was stored forever in your brain, and you can think about it in a second, and that shapes and scopes the person that you're gonna be forever. Or take that same exact memory, and then somebody coming to you and saying, look, I'm sorry, like I want to correct that. How does that memory, does it mean more? Or does it change and shift and so now? And that's where the dynamics of this movie is so smart, because this is what happens to Riley. Riley goes through all these different metamorphoses, from going to a new school and moving, and like the characters like are literally, I was thinking they're gonna collide and start fighting with each other because she doesn't know what to feel. And what was so crazy is that at one point, happiness disappears midway during the whole entire thing. Happiness and sadness disappear. So all you got is disgust, anger, and fear. And for somebody that is like a young girl that's going through puberty or adolescence, like when you start feeling those things all at the same exact time, like I can only imagine when you start feeling basically all those things at once till you become void of emotion. And that actually is showed in this. And it's so smart how they nudgingly do it, and then it shows like the outcome to certain terrible things that happen or great things that happen. And that's why I think this movie really excels. Without telling too much of the movie, I can't tell the whole entire movie, but I will say that it's really smart. Like there were points where I was looking at it though, and I was really bothered by it, because I was like, why are you making this decision? That didn't make sense, you know? But you have to, looking at this movie, don't try to take it as yourself being. This is one of those movies that I can't imagine myself being the main character because I'm a grown. You have to go and look at it for what it is. This is what Riley is going through, and this is where her world is being transformed in, and this is how her mind is being able to process it. And as well as there are times that you get to see what the mom, the dad, and other people's minds are thinking about during the whole entire thing. And like, I thought that was really smart. I thought that was really well done. But when I was thinking about the decisions that Riley was making, I was like, oh my gosh, this is making me angry. Like, this is making me upset. Like, why are you doing this? And I guess this is me getting to a point of like thinking like a parent. Like, quite honestly, as an adult, like, that didn't make sense. That didn't make rational sense. But at the same time, I know for myself, like, growing up, there were things that I had to learn early that I couldn't afford to think like Riley was thinking. Like, I had to just kind of deal, you know? And I didn't make those same kind of childlike mistakes. I made mistakes, but there are certain things I knew not to do, you know? And it can bother you if you're an adult. That's the only thing I can forewarn. Like, me and Joe, we were kind of like, why? You know, sadness, like, why? You know, happiness, why? You know, but it all comes full circle into a beautiful story, and it was really well done. I can see why I got like an average about an 8.8 rating across the board. So as far as the story is concerned, I give it an 8.5. I really enjoyed the story for the most part. It's just as an adult, I was like, man, why? You know, but it's so smart. Like, if you really think about the dimensions of how, like, when you are feeling like disgust, and then that disgust turns into anger, and then like you can't even feel sadness, all you feel is just like at that point kind of like a draw, you know, you want to withdraw and you become an introvert instead of an extrovert out of nowhere, just from circumstantial reasonings in your brain, you know, from what's going on, you know, and you're kind of taking it in as a child, like there's no telling how you're really feeling at all times. And that's what we have to realize from our youth, that they are feeling these things. And so this movie can teach us a lot about how the mind, inner workings of a mind for a child works. So I thought it was really well done. I think it brought me to a childlike mindset so I could be there, but I didn't want to stay there too long. So I'm glad I'm an adult now. But hopefully y'all enjoyed this review. I know I kind of was rambling, went all over the place. I did want to express, like, I did look at Inside Out. The friends and people that I looked at it with did enjoy it. But hopefully you enjoyed my review for it. So I give it all around, I guess, 8.5 out of 10. I actually really enjoyed it. But yeah, maybe a close 9. But anyway, this is SCL0320 doing my review for Inside Out. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, definitely leave a like below. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Make sure you go back to the video from before about the brand new giveaway that I'm gonna be giving when we actually hit 2,000 subscribers. That's all I can say. This is SCL0320 signing out. Later, everybody. Well, I guess I'll say that Arkham Knight PS4 version for free.